We're recording. You're listening to the Tune Up and Jam podcast. Ready? Go.
This is episode number 12, Tune Up and Jam podcast.
Tune Up and Jam.
All right, tune up, turn up, get down, and start jamming once again. Hello and obrigado. That is Portuguese for thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I am Rich. This is the Tune Up and Jam podcast. Here with the Diggum crew. Chris is here. What's up? Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like origato.
Yeah, kind of.
Or arigato.
Arigato.
Yeah.
Obrigado. Okay. Yeah. Francis is here.
It's all about
What's up?
It's all about
What's
the
up?
pronunciation.
Yeah, obrigado, arigato. Thank you, whatever. And what episode number is this now? 13? 12? We're on a roll. But it doesn't really matter because we're revisiting some old friends of ours that we've had in the past.
You just call them old?
Well, we are. So they might as well be too.
Exactly.
So we got here our very first friend of the show, David Rodgers, back to see us again. What's up, Dave?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing well,
Good to see
man.
you guys.
And then we also have here another old friend of the show, although not quite as an old friend. But we got Dane Meyer, who's back to see us once again, too, on the same show. What's up, Dane?
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
So both of you, it's very interesting because both of you are on kind of opposite ends of the music scene as far as like school. So Dave,
Yeah,
how's it going, man?
it's good. It just wrapped up. I guess it's now 5th semester out of 8 over at Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good semester. You know, I passed all my classes.
That's always good. That's always pleasant. Parents
Good
like to hear
place
that
to
one.
start. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, can I interrupt before you get into the whole school thing? The
Yeah.
last time we saw David,
Yeah.
I guess the very next thing, he was off on a cruise.
Yeah,
I wanna
That's
ask
what we
about
really
that.
want to know.
That's what I really want to know, yeah.
Who cares
Cut
about
the
school?
crap,
We'll
Dave.
talk about school later.
So how was the cruise, man?
man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I guess I was last here in May, late May or something like that, and I was right about to head off to safety training over in Maryland, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's how they do it. They do the training in Maryland, and then the ship was over in Hawaii. So it was about 6 weeks over in Hawaii. We just went around the Hawaiian Islands, 1 week itinerary just around the islands.
It's tough. I'm sorry.
It was a hard life, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
Beaches, too nice. Women are too beautiful. All that. But you know, it was a good experience. I would say don't do those gigs don't do it for the music. as you know, as ironic as that sounds, I'm a musician. But you know, really do it for everything else. Do it for the experience, for the food, for the travel, meeting people, and all that stuff.
Was this a solo gig or did you have a band?
It was both. So I
Okay.
played with the quartet, and I also played solo sets as well. But you know, the nice thing was they treat the entertainers really well. So we only worked at night, pretty much. I think our earliest start ever was like 2:30 or something. So.
But the real benefits go beyond the music. That's the bottom line.
Oh
right?
man, there are hardly any benefits in the music.
Okay.
But I mean, only because you're playing the same stuff week to week, and you have to act like it's new and it's exciting. I mean,
What type of stuff are you playing?
man, it was like all sorts of everything. So the solo sets, I could basically have the most leeway, so I play whatever I want. Usually just jazz. I started working up arrangements of pop songs just so people recognize them. You learn over time that people more likely to tip you if they recognize what you're playing. So yeah, you do it for the money. But also we would back up entertainers on board. So there's this duo called Toby Bow. They were a rock duo back in the heyday, I guess. They toured with the Doobie Brothers at one time, and there's also a Motown group. So so we backed them up too. So we would play their music, their sets, but then the quartet would just play like ballroom music for dancing sometimes. We'd play, you know, dining room, lounge music. It's usually just easy listening jazz. But pretty much the same set list week to week.
All charts?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there was one time where we got to mix things up a little bit, and we got the bandmaster. We call him the bandmaster. He's basically my boss. He asked me to come up with a chart for the Game of Thrones theme song, and so we got to read that. I wrote out the chart the night before, and then we sort of arranged in a jazz Afro-Cuban style, and then we played it in the dining room, and a couple people recognized it, but there's a lot of old people on the ship, so I don't know how many people actually recognize Game of Thrones.
That's awesome. That's when we went crazy with the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly. That was
the
like
musical highlight.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say, the musical highlight.
Right on.
Yeah.
Welcome to getting paid to play.
There you go.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, was that your first lengthy job getting
Yeah.
paid to play music like that?
Yeah, I mean, I gig around Nashville, but this was the first time where it was like a set contract. It was like a 6-week contract. Actually, 8 weeks or 7 weeks if you include the training.
Yeah,
so almost 2 months.
So, how did you feel about what? Because earlier you already said you were like, oh, you weren't really in it. The music is like kind of like
And
so like how does that?
I didn't know that going in, so
yeah.
I was sort of going into it all gung ho, like, oh, I'm getting paid to play music, and then after a few weeks, you're like, man, I'm getting paid to
You're
despite
living the
playing
dream.
music, But it was fun. I think the best part, if we're talking about the music side of things, was being able to meet a lot of other musicians, and so the drummer I played with, he had just graduated from the University of Arkansas at Monticello. A real good drummer. And then the other guy I played with, the bass player, he had just graduated from his master's at Rodgers, which has a really killer master's program over there. Do a lot of playing up in New York, both jazz. And so it was really good to play with them. And then also the bandmaster, my boss, he played saxophone. And, he's from Miami, so a great feel for a lot of Latin, Afro-Cuban stuff. And, it's just really cool to talk to people who are really serious. In high school, I didn't really get a lot of that because I didn't go to a music high school. I went to more of an academic high school. So it was just cool to get to dig deep into some music, get musical suggestions. The other thing was everyone has like an external hard drive of all this music. So, I mean, we got to pass around all sorts of music, and now I have like hundreds of gigabytes of jazz and all sorts of stuff on my computer. I'm still discovering that.
Nice. Did you get any opportunities to just jam with those guys?
Yeah. Yeah,
opportunities
a couple times. In fact, my last night on the ship, the other thing was I was 20, so I couldn't go into crew bar. So it really just pushed me down the musical route even more in terms of what I did in my free time, in terms of like transcribing and stuff. But my last night, all we did was we just jammed for like a couple hours after the main stage closed to the rest of the passengers.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was fun. We got to jam, just share musical ideas, and also just aside from music, go out and explore the Hawaiian Islands and chill on beaches and go eat places. And I mean, that's not a bad part of it either.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So, like, do you still like keep contact with those dudes? Are you plan on hooking up with them later? Or
Yeah,
is it just
actually,
kinda
yeah. So the bass player, so he's from Philadelphia, and so I went up to go visit him and his alma mater, Rutgers, over my fall break. And he showed me around Philly and New York, and we got to hit up some live music as well in New York City, so that was fun. And then, actually, my family's going to Hawaii this Christmas, and so it just so happens the itinerary coincides with when we'll be there, so I'll be able to see Alex, who's my boss, bandmaster from the ship. So, yeah, I totally keep in touch with those guys.
You gonna jam with them?
Oh, I don't know if we have time for that.
Nah,
but, when I was in Philly, yeah, we did
you
jam.
did?
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you jam like out or just like little jam session?
Both. Yeah, actually. So I got off the plane in Philadelphia, and we drove up to New Brunswick to go check out Rutgers. And, man, I was running on like maybe 1 hour, 2 hours of sleep. And I find out as we're driving there, I'm going to go play with Victor Lewis, who's this like huge jazz drummer who's played with like everybody, played with Miles and back in the day. And that was cool, playing for like, get off the plane and you go play with Victor Lewis for 3 hours now.
You found the energy.
Yeah. You don't have any choice. And coffee has something to do with that too.
So how was that experience though? Like was it just a jam? Did he say anything to you?
Yeah,
did he
man.
give any tips or anything like that?
He told a lot of stories. He do like his impersonations of Miles Davis, which is really funny. And he just kept throwing charts at me. So I mean, must be in his 60s or 70s now, so he's written all sorts of music and charts. So he just kept throwing charts at me. And Ross, the bass player, afterwards, he said, "Man, all he was trying to do was just try to trip you up with harder and harder charts." And he's like, I could tell he was impressed because you didn't back off. So,
but
fun.
he didn't compliment you. He didn't say good job. He just
I
kept
think the
giving you
fact
harder
he
and
didn't
harder stuff.
Yeah, I think that
was the compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'll take
Typical
that.
jazz musician.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you ain't getting any compliment out of me. He's gonna get harder stuff.
There you go.
Well, that's interesting. You know, Dane here, he's actually in the process of applying to some music schools as well. So, like, how's that going for you, Dane?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
I have gotten no news yet. I've applied to 3 out of the 5 schools, and the only thing that I've gotten is I've got a call back from USC because you have to send a pre-screen in. So I'm gonna do a live audition at USC pretty soon here, and that is scary. My first real college audition, but it's good. It's a lot of work, a lot of writing. Don't like writing, but it is what it is.
Writing music.
No, just writing
just
for
writing.
for schools.
Writing essays and
Writing essays.
all
Yes,
that
yeah.
jazz.
Yeah. Did you have to do that too, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
got
last
the-
time
you
Dave
were
was
there.
here, he talked about his audition at Vanderbilt.
That's right.
And skating
Yeah.
out there and doing that.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that would have to be a nerve-wracking kind of experience.
It is. It is, especially when no one in my family is musical really at all. So, and I don't, and coming from Poly too, where
Yeah.
there's really no one who was real serious. I mean, there were a couple people, but no one in my grade or any advisors. So I was just really diving into the deep end. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and you make some mistakes, but you learn along the way. But then your preparation.
And Campbell Hall does have a little bit more musical performance.
There is. We have 2 larger music rooms that are very nice. I love them, and we have a very nice recording studio. And I've completely finished all the classes that we've taken that the school offers for the recording, and I'm about to take the AVID certification program at some point whenever the teacher decides to give it to me.
But do you get some advice from some of the faculty there?
I get a little advice. I'm doing more of they're all jazz. They're all like strict jazz or strict classical. I'm going in for like jazz fusion pop. I little of both, and so they don't really know what to do with me, which is kind of sad. But it is what it is. I can't complain. They are helping. I was talking to one of my teachers, and he told me to apply to University of Oregon. And after like thinking about it, I thought like, hey, I should just do it because why not? And so yeah.
And what do you want to major in?
I'm planning on jazz. Like the different schools have different majors. Like for USC, I'm applying to the popular music program, and then to Cal Arts, I'm applying for jazz.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a music school guy at all, so I don't even know exactly. I know there's specific instruments and performance of those instruments, and some schools have more industry related fields. I know USC has come out with kind of a business / music program that they have.
Dr. Dre is part of that.
Right. They got their whole
the
deal.
name of it, and I know he's. Do you know the name of that program? Dr. Dre and
I'm forgetting it, but I just know it's like you get to work with him, and it's like a direct streamline into the music industry.
Oh, and USC's got like a writers. They have a few things here, but and then you have the more specific, just music schools. So how did both you guys determine to go to the route of applying to universities that were not necessarily just music schools, but apply to those music schools?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time when I was applying, my parents wanted me to apply somewhere that had double major options because they weren't so sure that I would be a musician. I think they weren't so sure they wanted me to be a musician.
Fingers crossed. Be a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. So it turns out Vanderbilt, they're both engineers. The only engineering major you can pair with music is computer science. And so I was like, okay, that sounds all right. So Vanderbilt was on the list, and I think I said this in the last episode, whenever that was, maybe 1 or 2, but it was just the environment at Vanderbilt, especially the music school. I knew a couple friends there, but it was the environment, how nice the people were, how welcoming, and maybe it was just my first real experience in the South. Southern hospitality it's a thing.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they also gave me a full scholarship for classical music, and looking back on it, maybe I should have chosen a more conservatory route, just because I'm going all in now. Basically, at this point, is music is going to be my future.
So you're no longer doing the computer stuff?
No, I took a semester of that, and I was like, man, no, thank
Not
you,
happening.
no
Not
thanks.
nearly as fun.
And sometimes that's what it takes. Is
no doubt.
It was taking away so much energy from doing music that I realized I can't live without music, or I can't live in a way where something else is sucking away energy from me developing musically and exploring musical ideas. It just wasn't working.
So this was part of your discovery then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Can't really take it back, but
Yeah, exactly.
Beforehand, did the fact that it was in Nashville play any kind of role?
For sure. I mean, a little bit. I didn't really know Nashville as a city the way I do now.
I mean, now do you feel like it plays a big role, right?
For sure. I mean, I'm gigging a lot.
That's the whole.
I really feel like I'm living two lives almost. There's the academic side of things, and then there's sort of the professional, real world side of things. Yeah, really, the
dudes.
Practical.
And do you feel like you're getting a little bit more redneck as you live longer and longer in Tennessee?
Want to buy a truck a little bit more.
Man, I don't know.
Is that your F-150 out there?
I say y'all. I mean, that's about it.
That's
man.
step one.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved
That's how it
barbecue,
begins.
so I don't know.
Nice. I don't see any chewing tobacco.
No, I mean it gets a reputation as a country music town, but there's a huge jazz scene. I mean, the live music scene, you can go see like 4 or 5 live shows every night if you want to. And that's just so cool to me, and for pretty cheap too. I mean, everything's like $10 or lower a lot of times, or free. There's a lot of free music too, which is really cool.
Is it ever crazy because you have? I mean, I've only been in Nashville once, but the time I spent there, I was just in awe of how many amazing musicians were basically playing all over the place for seemingly nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, these dudes are bad. I mean, there was just bad.
Oh, I mean,
dudes
it's so
everywhere.
concentrated.
Yeah.
The level of talent and people who work hard and who are incredible musicians.
it's a great environment to learn.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and to get pushed in a healthy way, maybe a little different from New York or LA, where it's, from what I hear, a little more cutthroat. But it's very supportive for the most part. I mean, the jam sessions, that's another thing. There's jam sessions, 2 or 3 jam sessions every week that I check out. I mean, you meet some real bad cats there too. I mean, everyone pushes you, and it's pretty phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned coming about LA, when you come back to here, do you gig around here, or do you find it like so much different than Nashville that you just like come here, you hang out with your family and don't really gig as much and can't wait to get back and jam some more?
Yeah, it's maybe it depends on what has been going on in Nashville for what I'm looking for when I come back. I can definitely treat it as sort of a getaway from the hustle and bustle of working like every night or studying for tests, and balancing the academic and professional side of things is getting a lot harder as things pick up on both ends. But I'm doing a little recording for myself, then also helping someone out with their project on Wednesday. But for the most part, just laying low, sleeping, sleeping, eating a little bit more, and getting a chance to write music too, because when you're really busy, it takes a lot of energy out of you, and a lot of creative energy that you might otherwise be able to spend writing your own music or starting to develop some original ideas.
Do you have anything you'd be willing to play for us? Any originals
right now? Man, I don't know if you can stream anything from the computer or maybe link to that, but I know you guys saw I was just working on a project.
With your new toy.
Yeah, exactly. I have my Nord Electro 4D here, which is just a small 61 key keyboard. But then I also have my my Moog Sub 37, which is an analog synthesizer. Back. Yeah, man.
Are these links open to to anybody?
It's public.
How do people find it?
I don't know if you could just drop a link next to the wherever you post the podcast.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anyone can view it, and I was checking out how to combine the two instruments, because I'm becoming more and more of a gearhead, you know. In fact, right before I came back,
you and Francis could have a good episode on your own.
man. I actually just
we'll have to calendar that in, and we'll definitely just talk
nerd
about
out 8 hours. Exactly. Let's do it. But my mom doesn't know this yet, so I hope she's not listening. But right before I came back, I found a great deal on a Korg, the King Korg, which is a analog model. And man, it has some really cool.
It's so good. My school has one.
Yeah, it's really
good.
cool, and usually goes for like $1,300 or to $1,800. I found it for $675. I felt like I snagged a deal, so I had to do it. So by the time, sorry, Mom.
Looks like you're going back on a cruise ship, man. I got to pay that thing off.
Yeah, so that'll be back in Nashville. That was sort of my Christmas present to myself.
Nice. Got to take care of number one, man.
No, you know what it's? I look at it. It's investing.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Oh,
You're investing in the gear for your future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to explore the idea of making more videos, like I did on Facebook.
Can we stream that? Can we get that up?
Oh well.
I mean, that is the new medium. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I put it up on like Thursday, I think, or Friday. I put it up on Friday, and 2 days later, it got like 13,000 views on Facebook, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great medium because one person shares it and they're 1,500 Facebook.
Yeah,
friends.
Exactly. It's
go. Oh, let me click on this real quick. And then you know.
Right there. I don't know if you can.
We're waiting for Inspector Francis. I love the intro because it reminds me a little bit of Mr. Rodgers.
It is.
I didn't even make that connection.
Buffering. Just as a
No, what that was a tease. That was a tease. So we have to
for
encourage
more.
everybody for more. Yeah. So we gotta deal with some.
That's
of that.
just leading into it. And I feel like we keep returning to Stevie Wonder and Detroit music like we always do in this show.
That's
like,
true.
Because that's
that name
really,
comes up, I think, more often than anybody's.
as it should.
We're gonna have that link on our website.
Yeah, we'll definitely have the link
For
We'll
sure.
have the link.
Awesome.
Yeah, you got to check it out. It's a really great interpretation. I dug it.
And the video is
for
cool too.
Yeah.
Everything
I just recorded that on my iPad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
and through a filter on iMovie. Everything was like basically free. The software is GarageBand and iMovie. And then the iPad I got for Christmas like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So
Well, that's a good thing to point out too, because I think you were talking about going to school, getting some Avid education in the software, the programming. Learning to record at home, learning to be able to put that out, and who knows where that could lead as well. I mean, it's a good exercise just for the songwriting purposes and the exercise of just learning new things. But it'll serve a purpose too. Learning to record, learning, you don't have to become a gearhead, but if you know enough just to put it out there, that's how you can.
Yeah, I mean,
you
especially
can share the music.
Yeah, I mean, technology is slowly, overgrowing society. So why not take advantage of that a little bit and learn how to get it out there through the internet? And
especially for auditions. That's something. That, there was a lot of just record yourself playing something online, and that's what the USC pre-screen. That's what the CalArts jazz program is. That's what basically everything is having you send something in online now. And me doing Pro Tools and knowing how to use Pro Tools decently has made my life so much easier because of that.
That's good. And in fact, as we're having little Wi-Fi issues here, you have a link too as well, right, Dane, about some stuff you're working on.
I do.
So if it's easy enough to give a shout out now, you could. Otherwise, we can put a link.
It's just on SoundCloud. It's the Telescreens. It's just a new band that I'm in, and it's just some kids from my school, and basically the guitarist and the lead singer, they were together for a while writing music. They had a bassist, and the bassist went to military school, and then they asked me to play because I'm really good friends with them, and so I said, of course, and then we've been pumping out a lot of music. Right now, if you just go on like SoundCloud and type in the telescreens, there's only going to be like 3 songs off of like an EP that he recorded a decent while ago in England, but like we've recorded 2 or 3 songs within the past 3 months, and they're coming out really good. We're sending them to this guy in England who is one of the best audio engineers in England, and he's because somehow the lead singer like met him and became like really good friends with him. I don't know. I'm just really happy that that happened. And and we're playing for like very important people. Like there's a producer named James Fauntleroy. He's an amazing singer and a very good producer. He's on the new Kendrick Lamar album. Like he has a feature. He sings, and we just played for him. He had a little pop-up shop, and then he asked for us to play, and it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
They didn't have a hi-hat, so the drummer had to suffer through that.
A little Keith Moon action.
Great.
Keith Moon never used one.
Sometimes you just have to improvise.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, Dane's a bassist.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably know some bassists in music school.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is there anything that he should know, like as a bassist, or just as an incoming music student, or that not just Dane, but
Yeah.
people like Dane too? That since
Yeah.
you've already kind of gone through the process or going through the process, like whatever school he gets accepted to, like what kind of advice would you give him?
Well, I mean, it sort of depends on what you're going for, but a bigger thing is, since I'm booking a lot of gigs for people now, and sort of being the person in charge of things, it really, everyone's a pretty good player, and I'm sure you are too, especially since you're applying down that route. So you got to look at things that will set you apart, and one of the things that will is, are you easy to work with? Are you a good hang on the gig? I mean, I can't tell you how many guys I don't want to play with just because they'll complain or they'll make excuses. They'll be late. Always be on time. Have your stuff together. Don't forget things. Just little things, little professional things. But those little details, believe it or not, will really set you apart. And if you're a good person to hang with, if you're likable, you can talk about other thing is be able to talk about stuff other than music. Because when you're playing for like 4 or 5 hours on a gig, playing back-to-back gigs or something, you're gonna get tired of talking about music. And if you can talk about anything, news, sports, whatever it is, that too.
Miss Universe pageant.
Yeah. Yes, Steve Harvey. Bless his heart.
You say they're little things, but they actually carry a lot of weight.
I mean, little things add up, and
Right,
it turns
right.
out to be a big part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess for the person who didn't get the call, it's not so obvious unless they're pretty self-aware. But
Yeah.
they're not too. I guess I'm saying it's not so obvious why they didn't get the call.
Yeah.
because of
Unless
these little things, yeah.
if you can't play your instrument, that's one thing. But if
Right.
if you can play, but you're always complaining about something, or you're forgetting your music, or you're bringing people down, bring positive energy. That's another big thing.
Yeah, we should incorporate that into one of the episodes. Just a little checklist of things to keep in mind about being a professional.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Chris, you hear that?
So why did all eyes go on Chris? Why did that happen?
Bassist.
So basically what we'll do is we'll invite Chris over and we'll do a semicircle around him. We'll talk to him.
This is a
Intervention.
musical intervention.
By the way, I think we forgot to mention Alexa's not here today.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she wasn't able to make this episode, but we are thinking of Alexa. Alexa, you haven't met Alexa.
No.
She's our fourth wheel now. She's on
Now you're a
our
car.
crew.
We are
We are
Yeah.
now a true vehicle.
Yeah, we are
no longer a trike.
But we got to give a shout out to Alexa while we're here too. So she's out there doing her thing. We went to see her last week. She did a nice job. She's playing down at Molly Malone's, and I guess we should plug her too while we're here. AlexaMerrill.com.
Yeah.
I was thinking of
Hit it up.
Yep.
AlexaMerrill.com. Hey Alexa.
I know she's gonna listen to the episode. And she's gonna be
I know.
like, "It was all right, guys.
Yeah, it was.
It was all right."
You missed my energy.
We miss the
That's
energy.
true.
We do miss the energy.
We do miss the energy.
She's young and youthful and exuberant.
Yeah. She balances us out.
Yep. And
We're old.
Nobody said Justin Timberlake the whole episode.
Until just now.
Sorry.
Are you going back on the cruise?
No.
Yeah, once is enough.
Yeah, so summer plans. I thought I was going to, because after I was done, they offered me another 3-month contract. And I was like, man, 3 months is a long time, especially after feeling how long 6 weeks felt.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand it flies by, but on the other hand, a ship is a floating island.
Yeah,
And if you're just around the same people every day, it starts to wear down on you. So I think I'm gonna live in New York for the summer.
Nice.
Part of my scholarship gives me a $5,000 stipend to spend on,
Oh man.
Gear? No.
experiences. Well, a lot of people study abroad.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of constructing my own jazz camp, festival, whatever. I'm just living in New York for as long as I can, and taking lessons with as many people as will let me. Contacting people and seeing who's in town, checking out live music, interviewing people about sort of what they think the direction of jazz is going, because that's something that's really interesting to me, especially now. I mean, you say the word jazz and you can mean 10 or 20 or 100 different things. There's so many little subgenres and sub niches. It's like, what does jazz mean anymore? But that's part of it. And then also our school has been asked to send a quartet down to a festival in Colombia in South America, so I'll be heading down there in June for 2 weeks. That'll be a lot of fun.
Maybe the Miss Universe runner-up will be there to
I'll
announce.
give her a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, the runner-up. So not the winner, the runner-up. Let's get that right.
Come here, sweetie. You're number one.
So
in
you're
my
out there. You're out there networking. You're doing your thing, man. You gotta stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're gonna go. You're gonna get buried, right? Like other
Or
people
live-
with somebody else,
or live on a cruise ship.
or live on a cruise ship. Wow, you just had a
Word.
great experience there, didn't you?
Word.
Man, I'm sort of talking a lot of, I don't know what words I can say on this podcast, but
We'll keep it clean for this
okay.
podcast.
But it was really a good experience.
For sure.
I met a lot of really great people and made a lot of connections, musical and otherwise, that I think are gonna last for a while. So.
Well, but that's a great. To me, I think that's a great thing. That's a great experience to have early.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, I see where this could be, and it's good for other young people to get into that instead of being a 30-year.
What?
Not there's anything wrong with that.
No, I think if someone wants to try it out, I think if you have the opportunity, you should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you should absolutely try it out. It's just not for me. I mean, it's definitely for some people. It's just not for me, because I'm always looking at try new things, and musically, and just explore and travel. And I mean, you do travel when you're on a ship, but it's a set itinerary, and I like constantly discovering new things and meeting new people. And
I think that's good to point out too, because let's just say the gig itself, maybe it's not your thing, but a lot of people have to realize too that you can take a lot more from a gig than just the obvious.
Oh yeah, you should.
The experiences, meeting other musicians. There's a wider spectrum of benefits that come from it. I mean, the core of it. All right, you did it. Move on.
Exactly.
You can turn the page, and that's okay.
Sort of did your time.
Right. But I think, like you're saying, not to discourage anybody from doing it. I think everybody should explore their own musical path, and even if it's just for one time, maybe they could get some kind of benefit out of it, and just for the experience alone too.
Yeah, I think it's extremely valuable to meet a lot of people and see their approaches, how they approach music. That's fascinating to me always, and that'll always be fascinating to me. And that's why I like meeting a lot of different peoples, because everyone has their own approach, just because everyone has their own little perception of how the world works. And so it's cool to just get in touch with that.
Yeah, and a few hours on the beach didn't hurt you.
No.
So, are you encouraged or discouraged from the cruise ship, Dane? Any ideas about it?
It's something to try.
Yeah,
I think everyone should try at least once. And if it's like, hey, if it's amazing, if I love the cruise ship, if I love that same thing every couple of weeks, then I'll give it a go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, do you do a lot of original compositions too?
I do write a lot. It's usually for larger ensemble. So there's a band I play with in Nashville called Today's Kids. Their whole mission is sort of bringing back instrumental music, sort of jazz. And I mean, people use this word jazz fusion a lot as a genre. I mean, to me, that's sort of redundant. Jazz has always been fusion. But for lack of a better term, we'll call it jazz fusion. Sort of like bands like Snarky Puppy and, other groups, Funky Knuckles. I just saw this group in Nashville called The Naughty Professor. I mean, those are some bad cats. If you haven't checked those guys out, for sure, check them out. But their mission is just to bring back instrumental music. So I've been writing a lot for them, and we've been playing a lot of shows in Nashville, and yeah,
scoring everything like
writing out charts. And parts for
all
the. There's 2 horns, and then we have 2 keyboard players, bass player, drummer, guitar player.
Do you take composition classes as well at Vanderbilt, or is it all performance?
No. Well, I do have what they call an independent study of jazz composition, big band arranging. That's more like big band specific. So I do a lot of like big band stuff too. I guess I can send you guys some links of stuff I've done as well. But I'm just trying to do it all as much as I can and learn from as many sources as I can. I think the more versatility is another thing. That's another thing I'd encourage people to do is, do as much as you can. I mean, obviously but explore things too. Like next semester, I have a little bit of free time in my schedule because I'm starting to knock off all the dreaded gen eds, So I'm taking a drum set lessons and jazz voice lessons, and in addition to everything else, just because it's free for music majors, and I think it'd be useful. You never know. Might as well start to develop some skills while you have school to sort of fall back on.
Well, plus he said this is your future. I mean, like you said,
for sure.
So I mean, as much as you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing,
right
and the only thing more marketable than a keyboard player who can read music, has a great ear, and knows is one who sings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They can hit a harmony every once in a while, or do that.
Yeah. Even if you could just back up vocals. You just make yourself a little bit more marketable.
Totally. Dig it.
Do you write music?
I write a tad.
Yeah.
Like most of my writing is like people will come up to me and be like, "Dane, I need a bass line," or "Dane, I just need a little bit." And I'm very good at writing bass lines. Writing complete songs, I've written like 3-ish, and they've all been like with someone else, like with a guitar player, and then we bounce ideas off of each other just to get like the perfect end result.
Is that something that you included in your applications?
Of course, you include everything. Just even if it just makes you look a little better, you include that.
Yeah. What was your original piece that you did?
Some of the originals were like some of the old Finding X stuff, or some of the newer Finding X stuff too. But like one of the ones that I like really, I did my own rendition of the Beatles' Day in the Life. That's like kind of doing an original, but it was just like playing it on bass by yourself. It's fun. It's unique, and there's a lot of people love the Beatles, and it's like a very well-known song, so people are like, "Oh wow, he's so good, he's so amazing." When it's an okay song to play. Just
nice. So, Francis.
So what we'll do is we'll put all the links to everybody's plugs. Is there any particular website you guys want to plug? Any particular show?
I mean, you could just
coming up.
Find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/ddodgers03. D and then Dodgers like the team 03. This is back when I was a diehard Dodgers fan.
Yeah, that always confused
No longer.
me.
Really?
I mean, your last name's Rodgers.
Yeah.
But you win Dodgers.
That's right. Yeah.
Of course. You always thought it was just a misspelling,
Naturally.
right? It was just a misspelling. All right, so check David out on Facebook. How about you, Dane? What you got?
The only thing it would be the Telescreen SoundCloud and the Telescreen's Facebook. We're probably one of like the first things if you just on Facebook search the Telescreens, you'll find us. It's a bunch of teenage looking boys sitting down looking like they shouldn't be there.
but for some reason they should.
Nice.
I think I'm holding like a Cinnabon, so just look for the Cinnabon.
Cool. And of course we can't forget Alexa Merrill. Go to alexamerrill.com, and she's on all the other social media sites as well. Check her out for sure. And we have.
Well, real quick, I would say don't forget to check out Billy Lawler too.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Billy Lawler. BillyLawler.com. He has a video that was recently released. It's very well done. It's a very cool song. I definitely would want to push that and get him the exposure that he deserves.
Yeah,
Because check it out. You will like it.
for sure, good dude. So and then us, we have a website.
We do?
Yeah,
TuneUpandJam.com.
yeah.
But
And
we
Facebook.
tell everybody, go to iTunes. We're on iTunes. Subscribe to
Oh, nice.
iTunes. And
Yeah, and we'll have David's link for up there on our website as
we'll
well.
have everybody's link.
Everybody's link.
Everybody's
Link.
Everybody we
All
can.
the links.
The links.
links.
Come to us for everything hip.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
hip. All the
You
new
got
stuff
it.
coming out.
All right. Thanks, guys, for stopping by.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
it was
thank
great seeing you
you.
guys again.
Thank you.
Definitely got an open door policy with you guys. So
Yeah,
whenever
keep
you're,
coming
whenever you're in
back.
town, yeah, definitely
Be back.
coming
Keep
back.
coming back.
For
I'd
sure.
love to see
For
your
sure.
guys growing.
Yeah,
Good-
yeah,
all of
no
us,
doubt.
man. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
It's awesome.
All right, late.
See ya.